am going. I am live, and I am going to go post the link to join right here. Click Control V, highlight, link, enter, edit, settings, open in a new window, click update again. Wait for the page to refresh, hit view page. There I am. Go down, click on the link, double check it opens up properly, and there I am. Blurry as all get out, and we are going to play Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. All right, let's see. Let's get tuned up. We will start in 2 minutes. Hopefully you can hear. Let me know if you cannot hear, or let me know if you can. Either way, put this a little this way. This goes off the edge of the screen. How's that? There we go. All right, now let's go find some songs to play, huh? I'm gonna play. Well, in my book or on the website, it's called Vous, Dirai-Je, Maman. And there's some reason why it's called that, and I looked it up on Wikipedia. So what it's really called is Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, or it's called the Alphabet Song. Yay, Elizabeth, good. Welcome, number one, welcome in, Elizabeth. Number two, thank you for letting me know about the sound. Elizabeth, we should be exhausted after that last class, so I think you should pat yourself on the back and say, nah, that's too much work today. I have to spend. I spent a ton of time working on the two songs which I blew pretty good just now, and sort of frustrating. You know, you're like, I know I can play these better than this, but my fingers are just not cooperating. I think probably it's fatigue, and so I do need a day off. And tomorrow's the day. So fried, right? that's the phrase, right? It's one of those things when you're staring at the paper and you feel your head go, I don't know what I'm doing. What my whole life is a lie. All right. Well, it's 5:46. Christy Lyons, are you kidding me? You listed the concert, but you were still working. Christy, here's the thing. We got to get you a job that's where you're not essential, because then you could be sitting around playing music all day long. I don't know what the heck you're thinking. Oh, I've been missing you, Christy. Honest to God, you and I, we spend a lot of time together, and I'm delighted to see you here in chat. So that makes me really happy. The concert was, I would say, I was, except for the hard songs, I was the two hard songs I just couldn't get my act together on either time. But the rest of it was okay. You know, I think Laura's theme went pretty well. I think that the intro songs are always fun and beautiful. And the first one we did, what was the first one? Went pretty well as well. What was that one? It was Both Sides Now. Oh, Both Sides Now and Bridge Over Troubled Water. I thought were pretty well. Can't Take My Eyes Off You in Downtown. I'm going to have to sit down with me and my ukulele, and I am going to have to figure out what the heck I'm going to do to make those sound better. That was not good. Mike's here too. Hey, Mike. He's had enough of me. You want to know the funny thing? All right. We'll start in just a minute. You guys know Helen down at Grant Street? Well, nobody's allowed in the building, right? So we can't, so, but she's letting me and Paul and Don's the maintenance guy, so he gets to come in, and Helen comes in, and then I get to come in because I always check the building and make sure there's no catastrophes happening. She knows I'll go through and double check then for flooding and that type of stuff. Did have an issue, by the way, and she lets Paul come in. He's one of the art the painters. So those are the four of us that have been in the building. And the other day I was walking out, and Helen was there, and nobody else in the building, wandering out. And I says, "Hey, Helen, what's up?" And she goes, "I am so sick of my boyfriend." And it's just this being stuck inside with people, man. All of a sudden, it's not even that there's any problem there. You're just tired of people, tired of the same conversations, the same. And it's a little harder on us than I anticipated. I mean, thank goodness. I mean, this is something you say, but it could be a lot worse, right? I mean, we could not have the internet, for example, and try to do this with just relying on the major media, or in 1918 have this going on and relying on the newspaper to come every morning. So yeah, I definitely get it. We're all sick of one another, and just in case my wife is watching, I'm having a lovely time with her. All right. Let's play Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. 3 chords, right? 3 chords. G chord. Index finger up here. Middle finger up here. Sometimes your ring finger is going to be on the 3rd fret of the 2nd string. Sometimes, and then you're going to put your pinky under there. And that's the fancy G. That's what I like to call that. Sorry, I just whacked the microphone. That's what we're going to do some of the times, okay? And then some of the times your ring finger is going to go right down there, okay? So those are your G chords. Same chord, just fancier versions of it, okay? Then you're going to jump over to C chord, index finger here, middle finger here, ring finger there, okay? That's a C chord. And then you're going to have D7 chord. So when you're hanging out on C, just leave your index finger where it is, and then go put middle and ring right there. Yep, and that's what we're going to be doing. Okay, those are it. I think I didn't double check, but it makes sense that would be it. Yeah, 3 chord song, and kind of famous tune. Mozart wrote this, and we have managed to wiggle it around enough where it fits perfectly into various songs that we like. And so, COVID divorce is a real thing. Yeah. Come on. COVID murder, maybe, but not COVID divorce. Come on. Don't murder Mike. He's a good guy. All right. So you guys can't it's Friday afternoon. You hopefully got your whiskey sour sitting there. You're ready to hear my singing. Okay. Let's sing this song real quick. 1, 2, 3, 4. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. Up above the world so high, like a diamond in the sky. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. The fun part about that one is it's a lot of work, right? You got your chords going all over the place, and they're not the most friendly chords. You got to lift up everything almost. You got to get G. If you're going from G to C, you've got quite a lot of ground to cover. And if you're going from G to D7, everybody's got to go over. The only time you get lucky is if you go from C to D7. Right? Those are a little easier. So those are sort of your main. Those are level 3 chords for sure. You met them in level 2, but really level 3 is where you get good at those. And so hopefully the C chord's coming along. Hopefully that's something that you're hitting pretty solid now. And D7, of course, is not too difficult for most players. It's that G chord, right? Getting sometimes a ring finger up in the pinky there, sometimes a ring finger down here. And of course, we've talked over the last week or 2 or 20 weeks, however long we've been at this. Middle finger up here, ring finger up here, and pinky finger down here is also a very normal way to play that G chord. And then we're going to go to C from there, and then D7. So you'll see a lot of players using that configuration. I don't like that configuration, and I don't know why, but it I feel like I'm being forced by folk singers into using that configuration, and I know the next thing they're going to do is force me to sing, and so that's maybe why I'm opposed to that G. Right? Feels all singy to me. All right, that's the chords. Beautiful tune. Most people know it. Okay, now let's go through. Let's play the melody. Again, as we've talked about all of the time, we want to make sure when we're playing melody that we're thinking positionally: index finger, middle finger, ring finger, pinky finger. There's no reason to use your pinky finger on this. You have all zeros, threes, ones, or twos. So we're going to use all three of these fingers, but nothing else. So we want to make sure when we're playing melody that this is where they are. And then there are times when we would fancy this up a little bit, but for the most part, that's a pretty reliable program. If it's a one, it's this finger, two, if it's this finger, and three, if it's that finger. If you follow that, you'll end up being pretty fast. Okay. If you are working just on reading tablature and working at that level, then we are going to be just doing thumb, 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 thumb. Okay, just playing with your thumb. If you're working, trying to get fancy and really get some independence with these fingers, try doing your opposing index, middle, index, middle, index, middle, index, index, middle, index, middle, index, middle, index. Okay, so be thinking about, hey, is that something I want to work on now? This would be an awesome time to do that. I notice when I start working on that, my fingers get real resistant real fast, and which means that I need to be working on it some more, right? And so getting your knuckles loose, it talks a lot of times about hand warm-ups. Okay, just squeeze a fist and then pull these out, throw them out sometimes, right? What I don't like is when people are pushing them against each other. That can hyperextend and you can cause injury. And honestly, your hands, even as tough as they are, it's pretty easy to injure them. And so don't push against each other, but just let them push against themselves, right? So this one, this one, this, 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 yeah, right? And then of course we got this one, outs, 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 outs. It's interesting. I've been fighting this pinky all day today, and I just when I did that, it went, "Hey, what? Ow!" Right. So obviously there's something going on with this guy. He's just not a happy camper these days. So I'm gonna have to spend a little bit more time warming him up, talking to him about doing some of these guys, right? Um, Trying to work him against the other, getting him as independent from the ring finger as possible. It's one of those things that we got to do. And I do think this is one thing when you start talking, when we start guitar, and I say, "How much should you practice?" And I say, 1 minute every day. Ah, ha, ha. But what you find is you start to get level 3, level 4, getting into some more complicated music. A lot of times you will sit down, start playing, and your hands are not cooperating. 30 minutes in, all of a sudden things get easier because they're warmed up, they're stretched out, they're doing what they need to do. And so sometimes when you start to get to this more complicated material, you might have to put in a little bit longer on your practice sessions, a little bit longer than 1 minute to get your hands properly warmed up where they'll cooperate. And so I've certainly found that on piano when I was playing piano consistently and at a high level, that basically the first 40 minutes were a write-off. You just were not going to play well. So that's why I did all my my scale work and arpeggios and all that boring stuff. I would do that for the first while so that I get my fingers and hands working cleanly, and then go into the stuff that the music I was working on, or and then wrap up at the end of the practice session with just fun stuff that I enjoyed playing. By then my hands were working pretty well. Okay. Let's play the melody. You're going to start on the third string. 1, 2, 3, 4. Um, can you hear I need new strings? All right. Let's go into, let's do the arpeggio pattern. Now, I wrote one out here that's all on the bottom strings. Thumb, index, middle, ring, thumb, index, middle, ring. And I think let's try that. The other one to be thinking about when you are doing arpeggio patterns is root noting properly. My computer just came back. Donna went and picked up my computer. All right, so I got to get rid of you guys. I got to go get on my good computer. No, just kidding. You get 10 minutes and then I'm getting rid of you. Thank you, Donna. Um, arpeggios. This one I wrote them with them all on the bottom four strings. Thumb, index, middle, ring, thumb, index, middle, ring. And then the C one is up one on the fifth string. Then your D one. So I tried to follow the main chords there in terms of what made the most sense. But as you know, probably when you're playing arpeggios, you can, as long as you're holding the chord, you can hit any string you want at all. And so let's go through, let's sing it and pluck it with an arpeggio pattern and see how it sounds. What it does, the nice bit smarter with this hand. Okay, so from the top, 1, 2, 3, 4. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. Up above the world so high, like a diamond in the sky. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. Or, okay. And what I notice when I'm teaching, a lot of people really struggle with arpeggios. So it's a good thing to, if you're not struggling with it, yeah, congratulations, you are officially level 5, right? But if you are one of these things where you're not fully in control of your right hand yet, that's something we do want to work on. We want to spend as much time as we can getting comfy with this claw shape and picking the strings out that we need to. And I, of course, I'm always working on it as well. It's never a job that's finished. It seems like you get the next song and you're going to be thinking, oh, I got to do this or this with this claw shape. And sometimes it goes smoothly, sometimes it don't. Okay. All right, so we've done chords and singing, we've done the melody, and now we've done the chords arpeggiated with singing. So if you have a friend, let's say he's sitting next to you, he would play the melody, you'd play some version of those chords and really turn yourself into a great duet, and then you can travel this country making so much money. And it's you know, it's a valuable goal to be thinking of. All right, last thing we're going to do, we're going to play the tough acts, which means putting the chords and the melody together at the same time. Generally speaking, we're going to grab the chords and everything's going to work out great. But sometimes it's not going to work out and we're going to have to make modifications to what we're holding on our left hand. And we'll do that as it happens, as it comes up. So let's walk through the whole thing. I'll tell you what I'm doing and then we'll go through and try it. So when I see something like this, the first thing I'm going to do is hold a full G chord, okay? Because that's the first thing I do in fingerstyle is grab the chord. Next thing I do is start walking through it and seeing what makes sense. So the first two chords are G chords, but I'm only going to play 4 strings. Just make sure your thumb is resting here, okay, so that it doesn't accidentally go off. And of course, those of you on next level stuff, you're thinking about, okay, playing it with a claw shape. Okay, we do that twice. Now, because you have 5 strings, if you are thinking this arranger is the greatest arranger ever, I have to do exactly what he says, you're sort of stuck with doing a thumb down because you got to get all 5 strings. The truth is, I arrange it, right? And you know that's so you don't have to do anything that I say. You might take your claw, use the top string because that's a G note, and then use this for the bottom 3, and then you're just going to skip playing the 5th string. Okay, Same thing happens at C. You measure 2, you put your C chord on. You're either going to do 4 strings and just skip the D string, or you're going to thumb down it. I think all those sound fine. Put your G chord on, and then measure 3. I've got a D7 chord on, and I went ahead and included the A string in these because I think it sounds prettier. Okay, there's a complexity that's probably doesn't deserve. And then go to your G chord, leave the bottom string open. D7 again. And the other reason to include the A string in this moment is otherwise you're just playing a D string and the melody note. It sounds a little thin, right? So to make it sound a little deeper, just add the A string in. And then a nice G chord. Nice. Make sure you don't play the bottom 2 strings. Okay, then let's go on. Put my ring finger down. And I'm going to go grab the D7, play 4 strings. Grab your G chord, play 5 strings. Jump back to D7, 3 strings. Back to G chord, add your ring finger. Grab that D7. Grab a G chord. And that D7. Okay. Page 2, we're going to grab that G chord again, and it's the same idea as we started the song with. Ring finger. D7 with 4 strings. G chord. D7. Whoop. G chord to wrap it up. Just 4 fingers. You could go ahead and do something fancy with these 2, right? You can do that. Okay. By the way, I put the chord on next at the end of the measure 13. I put the chord on with the arpeggio pattern. You probably want to put that same chord up there into the tough uke to have this big fancy finish, right? We want this ending to be lush and beautiful and unbelievable. Okay. All right, let's play the whole thing. Pick your best right hand pattern, whatever you feel like you want to do. 1, 2, 3, 4. I gotta play that again. I can't believe how many times I blew the D7 almost every single time. Okay, one more time. By the way, this time when you get to these half notes in fingerstyle, right? And I know a couple of you guys. I know a couple of you guys that are. I got this little thingy here that says how many people are in the room. A couple of you guys I know are fingerstyle, like legit fingerstyle, or working on it and trying to get better. When you are that person, you need to try to put a note every 8th note. Every single 8th note needs something. Okay, so to do that, okay, you're going to play exactly what's in the tough axe, but then in between notes, you're going to grab a non-melody note. Okay, so what you're going to be doing is Make sense? So in other words, I'm just using my index finger and grabbing whatever string happens to be convenient there. But that's how you build a fingerstyle arrangement. You start with tough acts. You start with chord and melody. Make sure that everything makes sense. Then you go back through and start adding in nonsense notes between everything that you possibly can. Okay, so in this case, and then like when you get to measure 2, at the end of measure 2 you got a half note, right? So you should have 3 notes after that that are just pretty, just there for no reason other than you're trying to sound fancy. So if you come in with, and that's one way, dum dum dum, or bum bum bum, anything, whatever you decide sounds the best. And that is actually a rather enjoyable way to spend an afternoon, is to get yourself a tough, a chord melody arrangement, sit down, make sure you can play it, make sure it's a song you like, and then just sit down and figure out what note am I going to put in between every moment. Anything that's not an eighth note, I'm going to turn it into an eighth note, and I'm going to put another eighth note right after it, right? So let's try that. And this is since I know we got some advanced players here, better players than I am, right? So let's figure out what you guys can do to take what would be a fair, as you guys know, I'm a big fan of going back to the basics. Go back to Three Blind Mice. Go back to Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, and figure out what you can do to get it better than the last time you were there. And this time you're trying to think, all right, I want to get every note perfect, of course, but I also want to add in some eighth notes when I can. Okay, and in fact, I don't have any eighth notes in here, right? So it's all quarter notes or half notes. So you should be putting in extra notes in the middle of all that. And that's when you're playing fingerstyle. And if you go watch, just go Google it and just type or YouTube it, fingerstyle guitar, enter, and just go watch these videos. And that's exactly what these guys are doing. They're all sitting here like this. They're all trying to keep the chords relatively simple over here, but then they're adding in all sorts of decorations with this hand. And so you see hear all this sound coming out of the guitar, but you don't see that much activity going on here. It's all coming out from over here, and it's kind of hard to see because they got it tucked underneath there, right? And they got the camera pointer here because that's what guys care about. But this is what they should be caring about, because this is what sounds nice. All right, let's give it a try. Try to fingerstyle it, okay, from the top. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now you got something, right? Now you've got a nice arrangement. We started with 3 chords. Every guitarist knows. We started with a melody that's not terribly difficult. We added those together. Then we took some arpeggios and we added that in there. And then we get fingerstyle. And then you got a pretty nice piece of music. And, it's just how far do you want to get that? Can you put 16th notes in between everything? Or leave the 8th notes in, but then speed it up by 30% and see how you go. And so that's what I like to do when I'm sitting around by myself and I get an arrangement done, and then I'm like, all right, what can I do to fancy this thing up? And I start adding in extra notes just to see what they'd sound like. And sometimes I'll actually write them in. You guys have had my arrangements where I've, added in decorative notes, And those decorative notes didn't just happen. It's always while I'm holding the chord. But which one of the notes? Guitar gives you a lot of choices. You got 6 possible voices to pick from. Which what do you want to do? Now, of course, I'm lazy. Bum 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 is what I always do. Not always, but most time. Or bum bum bum. That's another really classic move in fingerstyle. So, all right, there's your Three Blind Mice. Or what are we playing? Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, ABC song. Elizabeth, great to see you. Boy, you put in a long day today. Christy, delighted you could join us. How exciting. Um, I can only imagine what it's like working where you're working these days. Money is absolutely going the wrong way. So I'm glad you joined us. Don't try not to kill each other. It's when you're feeling like that, just go get the guitar, and then you'll feel like killing yourself because the guitar is so hard to play, right? Don't kill yourself. Just work on getting better at guitar. That's the thing. Or if that's too hard, go get a ukulele, and you guys are dynamite on that. All of you guys, I know. So, all right, I'm gonna log out. Donna's cooking dinner. It smells delicious. She went and picked up my computer, and I think that possibly my life is going to return to some sort of normalcy. So. Um, I will talk to you guys soon. Send me an email, send me a text. Let me know what you're up to. Have a great night, you guys. You're welcome, Elizabeth. Have a great night. Take care of those kitties. Oh, Christy, take care of those kitties too. And whoever else is here, go take care of your cats. Have a great night, you guys.